So throughout my little, not even little, ain't shit little about it. Throughout my transitionary period, throughout my hermit mode of me just being in isolation and me just sitting with myself and just figuring out like who this new version of myself is that I'm currently in the process of birthing and that I'm slowly starting to like show to the world. Um, One thing that I've learned is that for one, people are craving authenticity, and I talk about that a lot. And I've spoken on that in regards to like other videos that I've made, but it goes deeper than people are just craving it. It's because we're living in a world where social media is so big. We're living in the age of AI. We're living in the age of so many people wanting to be content creators and just wanting to leave their 9 to 5, but they're trying to follow a recipe. That's the thing. They're trying to follow a recipe that they've seen is tried and true for someone else. Whole time, just because it's tried and true for them does not mean it's going to be tried and true for you. People crave authenticity. Therefore, you have to actually do the inner work. Mind you, I've been being forced to do the inner work, right? And it's like, I used to be so angry because I'm like, bro, like, why do I feel like every time I turn around, I got to do more inner work? I got to sit with myself some more. I got to meditate some more. I got to do some unraveling in regards to my childhood trauma and release some shit. Why the fuck do I always got to be the one who got to do this, bro? It feels like every other person who is in a position where I want to be in does not have to go through even half of the healing process that I have had to go through. And the more that I grow and the more that I learn, the more I understand it. Because a lot of the people who I admire, some of them are not in good headspaces. Some of them are not even being their authentic selves. They're presenting a persona of themselves, right? And people can feel that. And like I said, people are craving authenticity. And a part of being authentic is showing up as exactly who you are, and not sugarcoating that, not refining it for other people's enjoyment or their satisfaction or validation, but just simply showing up as exactly who you are and allowing the people who naturally love you or like your personality to gravitate towards you, right? And a lot of times, like we see like these artists and entertainers and people who are in the limelight get to a certain point where they get burnout because I don't even think a lot of them realize it. They're tired of playing the same character that they've been told they have to play to be successful. And with everyone trying to copy this recipe and everyone trying to be these damn near carbon copies of what they see other successful people have, it's like, bro, you're never going to get to what you actually want that way. It's a lot of people who you think are in better positions than you that would much rather be in your position because at least you're in a position where you can figure out who you are and what you want to represent, what you want to stand for, and what type of legacy you want to leave behind, right? They feel like their legacy is already solidified and it's not something that resonates with their spirit and they feel like they're stuck. They can't go back on it. So it's like recognizing that, seeing that as a superpower, recognizing that, yeah, I've been forced into isolation a lot. I'm not like everybody else. I never have been. And at first, when I was younger, it kind of seemed like a curse. I couldn't really like fit in with people. I always felt like I was the oddball out of any group, until I realized that kind of separation, especially at a young age, is preparing you for something way bigger than yourself. You can't, one thing that I've learned while being in this isolation period, in this transitionary period, transformation period that I've been in, is that you cannot change the world if you're also of the world, if that makes sense. For example, I resented the fact that, I'm a homebody and I wish that I was outside more and that I wish I had more friends or that I was more, I don't know, just like more connected with the world and stuff like that. I feel like throughout my life, I've just been in my room healing. Ever since a young age, I've been doing fucking inner child healing work, you know what I'm saying? And at some points it did get a little bit too much where I had to take a step back and just enjoy life and recognize that I am not something that needs fixing. And I think I got to a point where that was kind of the case, but also taking the time out to do healing work from a healthy space where you have balance and you're living your life, plus you're doing the inner work, plus the times where you are just being called into isolation to just really focus heavy on your inner, like your self-reflection and stuff like that. Honing in on that, it separates you from a lot of the bullshit of the world. It gives you a fresh perspective. It gives you a fresh personality that isn't tainted by the outside world, so that when you are called to step out into the limelight, when you are called to be seen by people who you are meant to be seen by, you have something that sparks something that they thought they didn't have. You have something that sparks something in them that gives them a fresh perspective on certain things, especially because sometimes the people that you touch will be of the world. Like, yeah, you'll touch people like you, but you'll also touch people who are of the world, who are really into, the partying, the drinking, the dealing with certain things where you just didn't allow yourself to deal with those things because you've seen how fucking idiotic they were or how draining they were right off the bat. Some people, they don't get that. Some people are baby souls and they hard-headed as fuck. And then you have people who are old souls who are called to do a lot of their inner work in isolation, who are meant to spark the minds of people at a certain point in time, but until then are called to do the inner work on themselves so they can show up in their purest form to be able to touch the hearts that they're meant to. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, and I also learned throughout this transitionary period, this isolation period, just how protected I am. Because throughout this time, I've had people try to come against me spiritually. And I'm very protected. That's just what it is. I have always done things to where I make sure that I have my own back, right? I have an abundance of spiritual discernment. I'm very gifted in a lot of different ways. And all of that is because of the fact that I know I have a large mission on this earth. While I'm here during this lifetime, I know that there's something big that I'm called to do. And when you're called to do something big and it's a very pure and divine and led in light and truth type of mission, you don't get that type of mission without a lot of healing work, without a lot of isolation and self-reflection to unravel certain things that you need to unlearn to be able to hold that light. Hold on. I forgot what I was about to say. Fuck. And it doesn't come without, I guess, like a lot of sacrifice. Like, you can't really live like a normal life. But yeah, it doesn't come without that. Heavy is the head. But yeah, when you know that you walk in divine light and you know that your purpose is to shine that divine light, I don't even know what to really say after that. I've also been learning throughout this transitionary period, since I can't remember anything about what I was about to say with that, what I've also been learning throughout this transitionary period is what type of artist I want to be, what type of creative I want to be, what legacy do I want to leave behind, because that means a lot to me. And I've been doing a lot of inner work in regards to that. You know, I feel like a lot of people, they find out by trial and error. And as much as I am doing it by trial and error, going to the studio, seeing what works for me, trying new things, it's also been really cool to unravel certain things that I thought were me, but actually weren't me. It was people who just didn't want me to reach my goals. It was people who were jealous of me, that I ingested how they felt about me or what they wanted over my life, were the heights they didn't want me to reach. And then figuring out, hey, whose voice is that's telling me I can't do X, Y, and Z? Whose voice is that's telling me that I'm not worthy of this, that, and the third? Who is that? Because it's not me. And it's not God. And it's like, getting to that point has been so healing for me, because it's allowing for me to get to meet the artist that I am in its rawest and purest form for the first time. And it's an unstoppable feeling. And with that, it just comes with, it just feels like everything is being put together, you know? It got to a certain point that like I just didn't want to go into certain things because I knew what type of energies were involved in certain industries, and I just chose to stay away from it. But then it got to a certain point where I had no choice. If it's one thing that's been a key theme in my life, is that if you want to run away from your calling, if you want to run away from your divine gifts, I ran away from my spiritual gifts because of what I was talked out of. I ran away from, and of course, like, singing is still like a spiritual gift, but I ran away from my physical gifts that I had because of the powers that be and the energies that I didn't want to be involved with at all. I ran away from it all. But the thing is, when you have a certain purpose, when you are meant to shake up rooms, when you are meant to shine your light so that you can liberate others, you don't get to run away just because the shit looks scary. You don't get to run away just because other people told you should run away. You don't get to hide and not be who the fuck you are when God called you to be someone very specific, which is you. Authenticity. Let's run it back to that. You, not that person, this person, whatever. So what works for that person, whatever set that person off and got them to where they're supposed to go, y'all two got two totally different missions, and you don't even know who the fuck leading them. So you can't base their success, her success, his success off of where you go and how you get there. Because especially when you know who you are, and a lot of people in this industry don't know who they are, you walk a little different. You got to go through a little bit more different shit to prepare you for what's ahead, so that you can keep your head on straight, so that you can walk in any room and not be sidetracked or taken off guard by anything that might be thrown at you, because you know who the fuck you are, you know who the fuck sent you, and you know exactly how to maneuver certain spaces. Yeah. Throughout that entire transitionary period, that's what I've learned. Recently I just put out my first music video. I got a video on that later, so I won't speak on it too much. But it was through me having those visions that I seen the place where I recorded that music video before that spot even opened up. I seen the spot where I recorded my first music video a year and some months before that place was even a thing. And I had to wait. I had to go along my journey. I had to heal. I had to open myself up to possibilities that I didn't think were possible at a certain point in time because of what I had been through, to be able to go on the journey long enough so that it would be a thing and I would be able to create that music video at that spot that I know that I was meant to, you know. It's just little visions like that that let you know that you're on the right path for a person like me. And I'm grateful. That's all I could really say. I'm very grateful. I feel like with these videos, I always get off track. But hopefully in some way, shape, or form, it resonates with whoever watches this down the line. So, yeah.